Right, ladies and gents and everything in between, welcome back to another video on this channel. Welcome back to another match reaction video, this time for the Manchester Derby, of course. Manchester United 0, Manchester City 2 at Old Trafford, and once again more of the same for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Man United as the pressure continues to mount on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his job as United manager at this moment in time. And obviously, you know, the pressure has been on really heavily since the 5-0 defeat to Liverpool at Old Trafford 2 weeks ago. And to be honest, I think this result, and not just the result, I think in the way the game went and just the manner of the performance from United, I think is arguably up there with the 5-0 defeat to Liverpool. Obviously, you know, the result is, not as bad because it was a 5-0 loss to Liverpool, whether it was only 2-0 today. But I think the manner of the performance was very, very worrying and almost as bad as I said as the Liverpool game, because City had the freedom of Old Trafford at their disposal for the whole 90 minutes. United didn't lay a glove on them for the whole game, really. I think they didn't create any great chances whatsoever, didn't worry Ederson in the goal whatsoever. I think the only chance really where Ederson was actually worried a little bit was when Ronaldo had a volley in the first half that was, kind of straight at him a little bit. So it just goes to show United are in absolute dire stead at this moment in time. And in my personal opinion, I think it's time for Solskjaer to go. I thought it was time for him to go after the Liverpool game. He obviously, apparently was given 3 games to save his job. Whether it's enough, if you look at it, 4 points from a possible 9, if you take into account the Spurs win, the draw against Atalanta where Ronaldo basically saved them single-handedly, and then what was an absolutely dire performance against City today, as I said, where City completely dominated possession. As I said on stream last night, if you didn't see it, I said that, pretty much City would go to Old Trafford, dominate possession, United would try and soak up the pressure and try and hit them on the break. They didn't even manage to do that. City were ridiculously, at ease basically at getting the ball out. United didn't press whatsoever, made it way too easy for City to just play the ball around whenever they felt like it. And as I said, they got punished because City did what they usually do against these big teams. Is basically what they try and do is they go for the broker in the first half, and they scored 2 goals. Obviously the own goal from Bailly, and then the goal as well from Bernardo Silva as well, who did score the second one. And after that, all they really did was just pass the ball around for the rest of the game, just conserve their energy, to be honest. And you do find City do that quite a bit. So the only reason really, there was only 2 reasons I'd say why City didn't replicate that 5-0 win for Liverpool at Old Trafford a few weeks ago. Number 1 was the fact that, as I said, once they went 2-0 up, all they did was pass the ball around and just tie with United for the whole of the second half. Didn't actually try and exert themselves, didn't get out of second gear to actually try and get a third goal really. And the other reason why as well was because of David De Gea. I think especially in the first half, I think United were blessed not to be 3 or 4-0 down with some of the saves that De Gea made. He looked like the only United player whatsoever on the pitch today that looked up for it. And he basically kept them in the game for the entire of the first half, and probably the only reason, as I said, why they didn't go into half-time 3 or 4-0 down, to be honest. And in terms of United as well, I look at their team that played today. Obviously they're missing players like Varane, Rashford didn't start, Sancho didn't start, obviously Van de Beek didn't start, as usually is the case. But I just look at their team that played today, and it's full of average players really, with a hint of class in there, like Fernandes and Ronaldo and all those kind of players. But if you look at it, I mean, Lindelof in my opinion average, Maguire can be average but can be world class as well, I have to say. I mean, Maguire I'm really struggling to actually decide if he's actually a good centre back or not, because there's some games where he's unbelievable and there's some games where he looks like he's never kicked a football in his life. Eric Bailly, I think, can be a good defender on this day, but has that rashness in him to make a mistake, as we saw for the OG when he completely swiped at the ball to try and clear it and it went over De Gea. McTominay in midfield is a bit of a workhorse, but there's nothing really else to him, really, is there? There's a little bit of technical ability, but not enough to be playing for Man United really. Fred, I think, is an absolute lost cause at this stage. I thought he was decent last season at spells, but this season he has been absolutely hopeless really. Luke Shaw, left wing back, I mean, we saw his defensive frailties for the second goal, and Mourinho was saying this over the years that Shaw, going forward, there's not many better than them. I think going forward he can be a very good threat going forward, and but defensively he can have that. In my opinion though, I think it's not fully Luke Shaw's fault for the second goal, because first of all, I don't think, as the ball is swung into the back post, I think Luke Shaw's instinct is to leave it go, which, don't get me wrong, is a bad trait to get into as a footballer. You should be presuming there's someone there no matter what. But Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof, the 2 centre-backs that were close to to Luke Shaw when it happened, they should be shouting that there's someone running in behind, and that of course was Bernardo Silva, who did get the goal. De Gea as well arguably could do better, but I think you let him off with the fact that he basically kept him in the game, as I said. But yeah, really worrying signs for United. I think there's only 3 teams in the Premier League this season that have had worse defensive records than them, which just completely says it all, considering they thought they were going to be in the title race this season. They're 110% out of a title race now. They're once again fighting for top 4. And yeah, just incredibly sloppy defending. And yeah, just a lack of understanding, a lack of communication, and a lack of structure at the back really for United today once again was shown. And yeah, that's been one of Solskjaer's main weaknesses at United during his tenure, is a failure really to set up a competent defence. But yeah, in terms of Man City, obviously I'm not going to take anything away from their performance. As I said, it was probably a pretty bog standard performance for City, to be fair. It's what they do in most of the games, especially the big games. As I keep saying, is they just score 1 or 2 goals and then they know they're not going to concede 1 or 2 goals, so they just pass it around, conserve their energy for the next game, although it is an international break, and basically just toy and just pass around and have a bit of fun really with the opposition, the way they pass it around. I think man of the match, in my opinion, he was given man of the match on Sky Sports as well, João Cancelo, a player who is criminally underrated. I mean, he doesn't get spoken of half as much as he should be. A right-footed player, a natural right back, playing at left back, and looks like the best left back in the Premier League on his day. You know, maybe up there with Robertson and maybe even Ben Chilwell, you could say as well. But the way he gets down that left-hand side, and he looks a threat all the time. He always looks like he's going to create chances down that left-hand side. It's an absolute joke, really. And yeah, definitely deserved his man of the match performance today with the 2 assists he did get for the goals. And once again, a top-quality performance from him. And it's really, you know, surprised me how much he's turned on form, because after, you remember, after his first season at City, he was branded a flop and was looking to go back to Italy potentially with Juventus as well, but he's really turned things around in the last few years, and yeah, as I said, looks like one of the best left backs in the league despite not even being a left back. So yeah, fair play to João Cancelo, man of the match all day long in my opinion. But yeah, in my opinion, as I said, I think it's time for Solskjaer to be sacked. Obviously he won't be, as we know, because, you know, despite the fact that he was given 3 games to save his job, they beat a very, very poor Spurs side who, in my opinion, if Conte was in charge for that game, probably would have beaten, if not drawn, with United in that game. A last minute equaliser from Ronaldo, as I said, and an absolutely pathetic performance today. Somehow is going to be enough from the Glazers to keep Solskjaer his job. I think it's fair to say United fans will probably agree with me on that one. But yeah, somehow, some way, Ole will still be in a job come, you know, the next game in 2 weeks' time after the international break. But yeah, of course, we'll wait and see. I think United should be sacking him, should be going for someone like Ten Hag. Whether they can convince him to come or whether he'd want to go and leave this Ajax project is a different question altogether. But they could do a lot worse things than try and get Erik Ten Hag in. But yeah, that's basically, I think we've covered everything we need to discuss in this video as regards to the Manchester derby. So yeah, if you did enjoy this video, as per usual, if you could leave a like rating, that would be massively appreciated. Also, if you could subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are looking to get over that 1,700 subscriber line in the next, you know, however long it takes. But yeah, subscribing would be massively appreciated. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.